Hello. Hi. How are you? I'm sitting here thinking about weddings. Yum. Anyway, so I've been traveling a lot recently. I'm just trying to recover, and a wedding should never cost $600,000. I don't know what kind of a wedding you're having or how many guests you plan on having attend. But that's astronomical. You know, it depends on everything. If you want to have it be easy, you book your wedding like at a venue, a hotel, typically a hotel would be the best for them to just like do it all for you, because they'll have the florist, they'll have a makeup person, they'll have the food, they'll have the cake, they'll have the booze, they'll have the drinks, they'll have it all. But that costs a lot of money. So if you are unwilling or unable to spend that kind of coin for like one day, maybe you could make it like a 2-day event with like, rehearsal dinners and stuff like that. Usually weddings are more like 3 or 4 days, just with all the leading up to it and preparing, and then people leaving for their honeymoon or whatever. So you can make it more affordable if you have like a specific venue. I worked at a restaurant for a long time and we did catering. So say you like this one place that does food, you can ask if they do catering, figure out how much they charge per head and what's included. Most of the time it includes a beverage service. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the beverage service is an additional charge, and that includes, like soft drinks or whatever. Usually it's just soft drinks, and then if you want alcohol, that's like another charge. And it's not like something that they do just for some customers. Like everyone has to pay for their stuff. So that's one factor. And then you have to have like people to work at the wedding. People always say like, oh, my friends and family will do it. And I just had my daughter's birthday, and I have a lot of experience in events, but I didn't like explain everything to the people that were actually doing the work. Like my family, my mom explained everything, and then no one told me anything directly. They were all telling my mom, which was just like really fucking annoying. Most events there's just like one person that's in charge that disseminates information, and you pay your staff to do the work, because if you expect your family to do the work, they're trying to enjoy themselves. So it's way, you have to have people to work the event. You have to have a place to have, your wedding or wherever your dinner will be. What else? Like it's not like the groom's. I mean, weddings are supposed to be paid for by the bride's family. So I don't know if people like forget that. It's like not something the guy pays for, unfortunately. That's what your family pays for. And if your family's paying for it and you don't have like bread like that, you have to be really frugal, and you have to figure out how to do it cheap. Plated service is way more than getting a buffet, and even cheaper than a buffet is having, like, you know, a potluck, or getting different dishes from different places and piecing together a menu. You know, all of this stuff just, it creates more stress the more that you do yourself. You have less stress if you let other people, you know, do it at a hotel. But then you just have to trust that they know what they're doing. And I'm not very confident in that at this point. With my family, sure. With, like, just other people out in the world, it's a guess. I've been traveling a lot, so I've had good experiences, you know, but something like a wedding, everything just has to, like, be handled, you know. So what else? You have to have the flowers. You have to have a photographer. You have to have a DJ. What else? You have to have a cake. You have to have some kind of beverage to do a toast, if you drink or if you don't. That has to happen. You know, there's, like, so many things that go into that. You know, if you do, I've never worked a wedding where they did, like, paper plates. That would just create an astronomical amount of waste. Most of the time, it's much better to rent plates. You can rent them for really cheap. Or an event planner can help you, like, rent them. I should just probably try to market myself as an event planner. I'm giving away all of my industry tips here, but I don't even know. These seem like pretty basic common sense things. I'm not necessarily sharing any insider trading tips, but yeah, I've worked a lot of weddings, and it always blew my mind then how shocked people were at all the different things that go into it. I'm just like, well, do you want pictures of you put all this money into making this beautiful evening, and then you're not going to take pictures of it, or you're going to let your friends take pictures? People are having a good time. Like, just pay people to do the work that you want. Because for me, I think that's the biggest expense in a wedding. You can kind of save money if you choose a venue that is like someone's house, or someone, you know, even a park, depending on the park. You just have to be creative. You have to figure out ways to decorate and have it look good. You know, flowers are expensive. When it gets windy, they'll blow down, or it's possible that they can. If you have, like, a really high, you have to just go for really low. Anyway, I'm talking too much about stuff. But, you know, people at my party were giving me a hard time for trying to keep the flowers up. So I don't know. People are weird. I'm not weird. Yeah, there's just, like, so much stuff. Your table settings. There's just so much stuff. There's so much thought that goes into it. And again, it's not for your man to pay that. Unfortunately, your family is supposed to pay that. So that's just wedding stuff. And if you do that, you know, on the high end, all of that stuff that I described, paying people to be there, renting a venue, paying for the food, having a bartender, a DJ, a photographer, a wedding planner, florist, all that. Either in-house or if you hodgepodge it. It'll be about 10 racks. It's sometimes more. Because people, it's their wedding. And you're only going to have one. So most people go into it wanting to, like, save money. And they're like, oh, fuck it, let's do the steak. You know, so I get that. And then there's other people who are like, I just can't do that, even if you have the money. Or even if you don't. You're just like, I'd rather invest that into a house and do this as cheaply and, like, cutely as possible. So, yeah, that's not counting your dress. That's not counting your hair or makeup. It's not counting your bridesmaids' dresses. Your bridesmaids pay for their own dresses. I mean, maybe when I was a kid, I heard of girls paying for their friends' dresses, like super wealthy people. But most of the time, you just pay for your dress. And then you get yourself there. It's very rare for people to pay for your airfare. You know, wherever the wedding is. That's why most people try to keep it close to home. That doesn't count the ring. That doesn't count his ring. Or the honeymoon. People are always just thinking about the wedding, but, like, the honeymoon is what you're supposed to go on your honeymoon. You know, consummate your marriage and walk away. Come back with a baby, you know. You know, first comes love, then comes marriage, then comes the baby and the baby carriage. You can do it a different way, like I'm doing, but it's not ideal. It's way better to date and then decide, oh, do we want to be, are we, like, enjoying dating each other, and all before you've slept together. So anyway, I'm totally off on a rant. I'm way too tired to be talking articulately. But yeah, I just was totally thrown off at that. So then, you know, if I had to estimate the other costs of the wedding, I mean, yeah, I mean, you could spend $30,000, $50,000 really easily, $600,000. I mean, I don't know where the heck you're trying to have your wedding at, but that's crazy. That's just crazy. That's nuts that would even be a thought to spend that much money on a day without having, like, another big kind of investment. Like, I don't know. That's the thing. I always think about this. There's this lady I was talking to once. She's like, I don't know why if you know, this super duper rich guy just gave me a necklace or a chain, I'd be rich forever. And I'm like, you would be like, you'd be rich for 6 months. More money, more problems. You have more money, you spend more money. You don't really know what to do with it. You're used to living a certain kind of way. And most people don't want to budget. Most people don't want to look at their finances. They don't want to think about how much or how little money they have and what they're actually spending their money on. Which is crazy to me. I'm fully aware of the stuff that I like to spend my money on, so I try to, like, dial it back. And if I do make those purchases, I try to do them, like, in the smartest way that I can. And make sure that I'm giving whatever it is that I spend my money on to others, and using it, you know, for myself. I don't know why the heck I need to stop, but yeah, point of this story is it's only a couple days. It's a huge expense. It's a lot to think about, and it is certainly not anything that you need to spend an exorbitant amount of money on when you can basically do the same thing in the park with, you know, you could have a potluck wedding. That's what I've always kind of dreamed of doing. So why the hell not? It's so expensive. You know, pay for the space, and, you know, get some nice food, pay a bartender to show up, pay some people to, you know, circulate with appetizers and make sure everyone's good. I mean, and you could, I don't know, all of that stuff. You could do it. You could pay for all the frills if your venue's, like, cheap, because most places, they want a really expensive room fee, and you know, they're gonna try to sell you on a course dinner, which is nice, but that's expensive. So I don't know. With my background, it's hard for me to know like what it's all about. You will just have that one wedding. So is it worth it to save money, or is it worth it to like make sure you don't like have to stress out? And I think that's like for most of the people who have worked at their wedding, that's what they said to me. And yeah, of all different types, that was often the feedback, like, oh, you save money but you're more stressed out, or you spend a butt ton of money and you feel kind of guilty about it, but just have a great time and just try to enjoy it. But yeah, a lot of brides, like, it's something that they'll pay for together. I saw that happen a lot, but it's or like they would help her family pay for it, but that's a pretty customary thing that still is true today, that your parents will pay for the wedding. So for me, I've always been like, oh fuck, how am I gonna get them to do that? It's supposed to be her father. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's everything I have to share on that. We have a cute little baby kitten that's getting big. I'm exhausted, so I'll be back in a minute. Baby.